I love the idea of painting daily challenges, but I must admit that I always struggle to keep them going. In my last video, I mentioned that I will be taking part in the 31-day challenge by Strada this month, and I'm still taking part. And in this video, I wanted to share with you my approach to this challenge and how I made it more doable and realistic and actually enjoyable. So here are my top tips if you ever thought of taking part in a daily painting or drawing challenge. So firstly, I'd like you to think about why would you like to take part in a painting daily challenge. Defining your why helps you keep going when your motivation dips. So your reason for taking part in a challenge might be that someone that you follow entered into a challenge and you just want to join in. Or it could be that you want to build consistency in your art practice. Or it could be also because you enjoy the prompts. For me, it was a mixture of all these reasons. I found out about this challenge from an artist that did an oil painting demo in my local art group, and he said that he takes part in this challenge every year, and the only rule is to paint or draw from life. So I really like this idea about drawing and painting from life more. So for me, this challenge really resonates with my own personal goals. So I think it's important to set the why, or think about why you're doing the challenge in terms of your personal creative goals. So my tip number 2 is make it public. I personally announced that I will be taking part in my challenge here on this channel and on Instagram. And yes, it is scary, but it adds another layer of accountability. So I strongly suggest that if you don't want to post it on social media, at least tell your friends, tell your family that you will be taking part. And I can assure you that it will motivate you more to keep going when you feel a little bit like, oh, maybe I should just skip a day or two. I think it's quite important to make it public. My tip number 3 is to prepare. I think preparation is the key. And I think the lack of preparation was the reason why I abandoned some challenges in the past. What I mean by preparing is start thinking about the format you want to use, what kind of size paper you're going to be using. Maybe you're going to be using a sketchbook. In my case, I decided to keep it quite small, so I prepared watercolor paper, 7 by 5 inches size, so I cut it to the size and I put them in a little box. So this is just a normal packaging box that I just simply decorated with some acrylic inks, and I keep my papers and my final drawings inside, so it makes it feel a little bit like a daily journal, even though it's not a sketchbook. Also think about what you're going to be painting. So in my case, I could paint anything as long as it's painted and drawn from life, but you might be following the prompt, so perhaps you need to research some photo references, so that preparation also helps. I knew I'm going to be mainly painting small items or things, subjects at home, so I built myself like a little staging kind of thing on my desk, so it was always there, and all I had to do is place an item, an object there, and take my paper and just start sketching and painting. So this takes me to the tip number 4, and that's to keep things small. So I chosen the format 7 by 5 because it's just kind of like an easy postcard, but you can choose a square size, you can choose whatever, small sketchbook, for example, you want to fill in. But I think if you're drawing or painting daily, it's worth keeping it small. So this takes me to a tip number 5, keep things simple as possible. In my instance, I was mainly painting and drawing indoors, although I did have a couple of trips and I painted outdoors. But most of the time it was indoors, so I decided to choose simple objects to paint from life. If you are following prompts, try to find a simple reference photo. Don't try to be too ambitious. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It usually backfires. I found it that if you have to do something that is small and simple, you will treat it like a break almost, because I'm sure you have other chores and other commitments that you have to finish in a day. So this makes it a lot easier. Small and simple is definitely way forward. And my next tip number 6, is to try to make it feel like it's a treat. Maybe you have other tasks that you have to finish throughout the day, and this little task of painting or drawing daily could be that little treat, like a little break, like a little pause for, I don't know, half an hour, 10 minutes, however much time you have, but try to make it like a treat. I also went outside, so like I mentioned earlier, when we had the nicer weather, I did go outside. I went to my favorite nature reserve just around the corner with my paints, and I actually overcome a fear of painting in public, but that's a subject for another video, so I'm not going to be talking about this now. I just wanted to encourage you to try to think of it as a treat in a day, as your reward in a day, and that will definitely help you to stay motivated. So this takes us to a tip number 7, and it is to post work in progress. So in my case, I didn't have to finish my painting in a day. It was absolutely allowed to post work in progress, and I think this is a very good idea, and I definitely recommend it, unless, I don't know, your challenge forbids it, which I really doubt it. So try to get over the perfection, and people love seeing work in progress. I always get a very good response when I post my work in progress, sometimes even better and more attention than when I post final piece. So I'll definitely encourage you to do that. If you don't finish a painting or drawing in a day, don't worry, just post a whip. It is absolutely fine. And my final tip number 8, is if it doesn't feel right, just stop. I mean, just don't torture yourself into doing something you are not enjoying every day. Even if you told your friends and you announced it on social media, it really doesn't matter. And I tell you what, people don't care if you stop. And your mental well-being is the most important. And this is actually one of the reasons why you're taking the challenge. And it's absolutely fine to move on to other projects. So if things start to feel stressful, I urge you to stop and just move on to better things. So this is it for today. I hope these tips will help you if you ever decide to take part in a daily drawing or painting challenge. I hope I managed to convince you that it can be gentle and achievable. And in my next video, I will share with you, well, everything that I painted in the month of January. And I will tell you honestly what it gave me taking part in this challenge. So I really hope that you can join me for this one too. And in the meantime, well, happy painting, and I'll see you soon.